حي على الفلاح.
Okay, tell me something. How many of these girls do you know personally? He says, yeah, quite a few. I say, have you DM'd them? He says, yeah, I've DM'd a few. Some of them reply, some of them don't reply. So I said, would you mind if I saw your DM? He said, no, no chance, no chance, not at all, no chance. I said, do you realize that some of the girls you're DMing are actually boys, pretending to be girls? They're catfishing, that's what they're doing. Subhanallah, and you're there busy thinking, you look cool. Do I? Do you want to see another picture? Can I send you something else? Does it help you? You have so many, so many. You're planning to get married in a few years perhaps, or whenever. And how will you make a choice? There are so many that you're lying to every one of them how much, subhanallah, you love them or how gorgeous they are. It's easy to say you look gorgeous. And subhanallah, it's also easy to say I love you. And it's so easy to say so many things. You're hot. قُلْ نَارُ جَهَنَّمَ أَشَدُّ حَرًّا. Allah speaks about being hot as well. Not just people can be hot, but sometimes when you don't know which way to look and what to do, the fire of Jahannam can also be hot, and it's even hotter. So the guy says, they're hot. I said, can I tell you something that's even hotter? MashaAllah. He was excited. Tell me, tell me. I said, I don't want to sound like those sheikhs you say they put me off, but I want to tell you, Naru Jahannam. Be careful. Look at the way you're heading. Look at where you're going. You can be polite to people, but when you start following so many of these people, what beats me is married men would like to follow so many of these women as though, you know what, oh wow. And the other one you flick up and, ooh, that is even wower than the previous one. And you flick the other, ooh, these are 3 wows, mashallah. And then what happens is, you go further. Ooh, qaf, kaf, lam, mashallah. Beyond the wow, right? Until you get to ya. Because that's the last letter of the alphabet, right? How did it help you? Here is your spouse, in the case of married men, your own wife, your own family members, your daughters, your mother. You don't find any goodness in any of them, but anonymous, random people who don't want to know you. And you're wowing over them in a way that embarrasses those who are right next to you. Is that what a Muslim should be like? MashaAllah. Did you know that some people do not realize the ruling of lowering our gaze applies to the mobile phone as well? So the young man says, well, I've been lowering my gaze. I keep my phone down, you know. I keep my phone down. I don't look up. I look down, you know. No. Don't cheat yourself by conning yourself and making yourself feel good that I'm lowering my gaze. How do you lower your gaze when it comes to your phone? It's not by lowering your phone. It's by flicking up, continuing to scroll when you see something that you're not supposed to be seeing. As soon as it comes onto your screen, you scroll it up because you don't want to see it further. That is the first nadra. It means it's the first sight. The first glance, as they say. I'm sure you guys know the rule, right? The first glance is yours, the next one is against you. That's the Islamic rule, okay? So if the first one is yours and the next one is against you, I recall years back, there was a guy who was looking at his woman and he's just looking at her like this. And he's looking at her walk across. He says, hey, wait, don't disturb. Say, but you're supposed to lower your gaze. He says, this is still my first glance. Relax. The meaning of the first glance is as soon as you see something, lower your gaze out of respect. Out of respect. In order for you to appreciate that this person is not going to be judged based on what they look like, based on their shape, their size, based on their race, etc. They will be judged as a beautiful human being created by Allah. Give everyone an equal chance. May Allah Almighty grant us goodness. The beautiful teachings of Islam, the beautiful teachings of the Almighty would help us respect one another, respect the genders, respect the people, Make sure you speak to them in a way that honors them. Not just speak to the pretty people or to those whom you think are pretty or to those whom you think perhaps are good looking, and leave out those whom you think are not good looking. Subhanallah. Is it fair? Is it fair? It's not fair. The same people might not find you good looking at all. So all those whom you think, wow, wow, if they were looking at you, rather than saying Bismillah, they would say A'udhu Billah. Yeah. Not everyone you want to marry wants to marry you. Have you ever thought of that? Not everyone you think, oh, this is spouse material, would ever think that you are spouse material. They would think you are spice material. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. So remember this, we're supposed to be responsible. The first glance, as soon as you see something that you're not supposed to be seeing, turn the page, move it on, go to something better, not something worse. So mashallah, this young lad opens up his TikTok, and guess what? He only had people who wouldn't ever have reminded him about Allah. And then I told him, I said, young man, you know what? Do you realize that on the day of judgment, you would actually be embarrassed or be proud of how you used your mobile phone? He says, but I'm still young. I'm going to live for a while. I mean, I hope. I said, no, you can't tell how long you're going to live. People have gone your age and even younger than you. And people have gone later on. You don't know when. And I'm not dooming you. All I'm saying is discipline yourself. Just discipline yourself. Slowly but surely start following right people. And then I came to this beautiful point that I've been repeating the last 3 days. And I want to say it again because it's extremely important for us to know. One of the blessings of Allah, I mentioned it in Jumu'ah today, is that Allah Almighty doesn't say to you that if you don't have any bad deeds, that's the only time you're going to go to heaven and to Jannah. He says to you, if you have more good deeds than bad, you will go to Jannah, you'll go to paradise. Which means He knows you and I might falter, we might fall. But I'm doing more good than bad. I've fallen less times than I've done good deeds. I've reached out to people and so on. Allah's justice makes mention of a scale of the day of judgment where He will put the good on the right side and the bad on the left side, and if one tips the other, that's the direction you go. Subhanallah. So imagine when you're using your phone and there's a little bit of haram stuff that's happening, it's not right, it's wrong, right? It's wrong, right? Is it wrong or right? It's wrong. So if there is some stuff that is wrong, have you looked into your phone to consider what amount is right and what amount is wrong? How much of good am I doing through this device and how much of bad am I doing through this device? I'm not condoning the bad, and I'm not telling you it's okay to do the bad, but I'm telling you if you're doing more good than bad, there is still hope. There is still hope. And you should still be working on eradicating the bad. But some of us, subhanAllah, we enjoy it. We enjoy the likes. Every little while, look back at your phone. How many likes? I say 10. How many likes? 15. How many likes? Ooh, 16. I've never had 16 in my life. How many likes? 160. Big deal. Those likes are not going to get you to Jannah if the post itself is not in the right direction. It needs to be in the right direction. Be responsible. Say something good. Drop in a good word. Have a few posts. In fact, I can ask you a question. How many posts do you have that you would be so proud of that you would show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to say, Ya Allah, look what I did. I actually, one of the days, it was just a 5-second clip, but I told people to do something, to give a charity, for example. How many posts of that nature do you have? You need to know that those are the posts that would benefit you long term, real benefit. So there is something called sadaqah jariyah. Do you know what's a sadaqah jariyah? It is a charity, the reward of which continues after your death. For example, if you drilled a borehole or paid for the drilling of a borehole and people are benefiting from the water of that borehole, what would happen is after you've died, everyone who's going to benefit from the water, you continue clocking the reward for that for as long as that water lasts, even though you've died. because you did something that the benefit of which would last beyond your life. That's called a sadaqah jariyah. So if you have posted something, taught something, the people who benefited from it and those whom they benefit and those whom those benefit and so on, you keep on getting a reward right up to the end of time if that lasted that long. The same applies in the opposite direction. If you did something wrong, you earn a sin. And sometimes you have a sin that is jariyah in its own way. It continues after your death because the harm of it is actually reaching people more and more, and you're gone. For example, when you post pornographic stuff and distribute that which is vulgar or immoral according to the standards taught, then you need to realize that if that is reposted, you're clocking. Positive or negative? Negative. You're clocking minus deeds. And then because it's silly, like we said earlier, it's going to be reposted a lot. So you're clocking more and more. Did you need that? Was it necessary? Do you really realize that you've achieved nothing? And because a lot of people will like it and share it even beyond your imagination, we ask Allah's mercy. Let's be responsible. My brothers, my sisters, one of the biggest mistakes that the young are making, and even the old, exposing themselves nude online. Be it a video call, be it a little video clip, be it a photo, whatever. You can only regret when that happens. You don't do that. You don't do that. It's not a matter of legal or illegal, it's all wrong. It's all wrong. Subhanallah. We shouldn't be doing that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us ease. I'm talking about those who believe. You want to know the rules of Islam? Here is what Islam says. Don't display yourself nude online. And here we're talking to people of all ages. You are responsible. You need to know the consequences of that. There is a price that is paid. And it's something we need to talk about, because even the young people as young as 5 and 6 are exposed to this. And nobody talks about it. Be responsible. You did not need to do that. Nowadays, there are hackers who can hack into your phone at any time, no matter what you have. The more it says encrypted, encrypted, end to end and beyond, I promise you everything is hackable. It only requires someone who knows a little about technology, and they can hack you while you're standing right next to them, or even if you're far away. Would you like them to tap into a video call you're having, even if it's just within you and your own spouse sometimes? Think about it. Don't become paranoid, but just don't do things like that. Was it absolutely necessary? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. May He strengthen us. This is social media. This is what we're talking about. And that's why I've said, even if you go onto a marriage site and you're looking for a spouse, you may not realize that as legitimate as that site might be, sometimes there are people out there who are just having fun, playing with your mind, playing with your heart. Do not donate your heart to someone just because of a few words you might have heard from them. You don't. You make sure you have a physical meeting at some point. You make sure you know what you're doing. You make sure you get some parents or folks involved. You make sure there is responsibility, and then you can step by step move towards the right direction until it ends with a beautiful marriage that is blessed by everyone, inshallah, especially that which is not in the disobedience of Allah Almighty, and then you get the blessings. But to donate your heart and to start believing the promises made by someone you met on a marriage website from day one, that's a little bit childish. And like I said, at times there are people out there who are not who they are claiming to be. Sometimes they show you photos and videos of other people and you think, oh, this is the person. Little do you know, if you were to meet them in real life, it's someone else completely. MashaAllah, I see even the podium doesn't like what we're saying. Thank you so much for listening to this short message. I pray that it has increased you in a little bit of motivation and hope, and the same applies to all of us. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.